Okay. Okay. I watched a bunch of stuff this week, and hold on, is this working? Okay, it's working. Okay. Yeah, I watched a bunch of stuff this week, and I want to talk about all of it. But before I get to the movies and such that I watch, I just want to talk about a few other things. Nothing too crazy. So when I went to the movies, there's trailers, right? And I've identified a trailer trope. And by the way, I'm just going to keep playing this game because I'm a nostalgic idiot that wants to relive his childhood. But I've identified a trailer trope that I find really annoys me. So there's this trailer for a movie called, I think it was like Miss Harris Goes to Paris or something. It doesn't really look like my kind of movie, but I have no problem with the movie itself. It's just, it resorts to this trope that and so many trailers do it, and I hate it so much. So the trope is a character will say a funny line in the trailer, which is fine, and it's a moderately funny line, whatever, who cares. But then they cut to a completely different scene, an obviously completely different scene in the trailer of a bunch of characters laughing at, as if laughing at the joke, even though it's clearly two scenes that have nothing to do with each other. And it just really bugs me because, I mean, honestly, it's basically a trailer laugh track. And so it's, in a way, kind of insulting that you felt the need to, like, tell me to laugh at the line. And I don't like it. So I just wanted to complain about that first. Another thing, this isn't a complaint, but just an observation. I can't remember what the movie is that I noticed this in. But I feel like, so a few years back, let's see, was it 2017? Whenever Dunkirk came out, I feel like Dunkirk started a trend. Because Dunkirk had that, those cool, like, title art, where, like, the footage was, like, underlaid in the title. So it's like you had like a black screen with the words, with the letters Dunkirk, but then you had footage from the movie inside those letters instead of just being like white or whatever. And then I feel like 1917 did it, which is weird because it was also a war movie. It's like, it just seems almost like a ripoff to do it. I mean, not the movie itself, because 1917 is a fantastic movie, but just the title art. But then it happened again. I can't remember what the movie is called. It was like, it didn't look very good, in my opinion. But actually, maybe I don't know. The trailer kind of confused me a little bit because it took me a long time to figure out when the movie took place. But it's a movie with the guy who was in. He was in. I mean, spoiler alert: the end of Loki. And what else was he? He was in that. Who's the old writer that was like super racist but made a bunch of horror movies, or not horror movies, but like horror books that people like, except for the part where he's racist. It's something Country. That writer's name Country. For some reason it's escaping. Oh my gosh, see, I shouldn't. I feel like I've picked a bad game to play while trying to talk about things because I'm clearly not very good at splitting my focus. But anyway, it did the title thing as well, and it's also a war movie. So it just feels weird that like all these war movies are now. Oh, that wasn't very good on my part. Are doing the same. Oh gosh, that was bad. Same title art, like the exact same. It's just like the title of the movie, black screen, but then footage behind, like inside the letters. And I don't know why that's become a trend, but it is a trend. So I've been listening to Spotify for a long time now. That's a very good transition I just did there. Very good segue. But for the most part, I've only used their free service because I don't really want to pay $10 for what is essentially, for my purposes, only ad-free music, because I don't use any of the other features that they tout for their premium thing. So I actually was using. Oh gosh, I'm always too. Yeah, I'm way off. I'm gonna be here forever. But yeah, I would never, even, because I was using their premium service for a little bit. Because they had like a 3-month trial and I did that, but then I kept paying for it for like another... I don't know, 3 to 6 months after that. Hey, I got it. But the only thing I used was the ability to not have to listen to ads. Which was nice, very nice, especially for what I'm about to talk about. But, so yeah, I just, so anyway, what I'm trying to get at is Spotify ads are whack, and that's something I've noticed for a very long time, is that they can be just bizarre. Ow. Can the green laser kill this guy? I don't think so. No. Can this hurt the guy? Yes. Very good to know. And so I've identified a couple of Spotify ads that I wanted to talk about right now. Because I've always wanted to talk about the Spotify ads because they're that ridiculous sometimes. I mean, most of the ads are just dumb, mediocre ads that leave no impression on me whatsoever. But occasionally, they can be ridiculous. And I heard a couple recently that I wanted to talk about. First of all, one of them just annoys me, but one of them is both weird and annoying. So the weird and annoying one, and not even annoying, but just kind of like, I don't know, I find it morally objectionable. Because I feel like it's extremely deceitful, and I don't like that. And that one is the meta ads that they've been doing, which have been for, by the way, they're ads for targeted ads, which is a weird meta thing in and of itself. But, and ironically, none of the targeted ads are very targeted to me. But they've got like a handful of these ads, all about their ability to target ads to specific users. You know, they abuse your data. And the whole thing is like they get like these small businesses to talk about, like, oh, these targeted ads have helped my small business succeed because people who want to know about my gluten-free cupcakes or dairy-free cupcakes or whatever it was, like, they didn't know about my shop until they heard these targeted ads, and now they've got cupcakes that they can eat because or maybe they were vegan, whatever the case. The point is, people who wouldn't have known about that small business then knew about that small business, which seems fine in concept. But the thing is, targeted ads are not... They can be useful. There is some amount of utility to it. But for the most part, it's really manipulative and kind of gross. But then also, I doubt targeted ads help small businesses by all. Like the businesses that are gonna, that are really going to benefit from. How do I turn off? Is there a way to turn off those lasers? Because how do I get those coins without with the shield? Oh gosh, I missed. Right, I'm just gonna whatever. Who cares? I've got so many lives to spare. I don't even care. Give me your coin. Give it to me. If I don't get this, I'm gonna lose it. So anyway, and then so that's the annoying thing. Is I just don't like this idea that that you're helping small businesses because you're not. You're a massive corporation that only cares about itself and its own greedy purposes. Meta. And then also, this is the thing that's just like, it's so bizarre and also at the same time annoying. And I don't get it. I legitimately do not understand it. They've got like this little jingle, and I think it changes a little bit each time, but this little jingle before the ad starts, and it's this weird, horrifying, like legitimately horrifying, disturbing, and unsettling sound that like every time I hear it, I go, ugh, it just makes me shudder. And I don't get why they settled on that. Like, it seems like such a bad decision on their part. But, well, I don't work for a marketing company. What do I know? I guess nothing. So maybe they're doing everything exactly right to make lots of money, and I don't know anything about anything, which is almost certainly the case. And then the other Spotify ad, it's just one that annoys me, and it's one that I have to... so it's an ad for, I can't even remember if I think it's Uber. It's either Uber or Lyft. It's one of the drive share ones. They're like describing like this perfect job, and then they're like you don't have a manager, and you get to make your own hours, and then they say and you get something to build, which that really doesn't make sense to me, especially when you find out what it's about. Ow! How am I supposed to get through this without dying? I'm getting shot before I even spawn in. What happened to it? Like I was blinking like I had invincibility frames, but I clearly didn't. But anyway, and then they're like, but it's not. But it's like, it's probably hard to find that job, isn't it? Well, that's because it's not a job, it's a gig. And then they start like, you should work for Uber or work for Lyft or whatever it is. And I'll be honest, like as someone who doesn't drive, I actually do rely on Uber quite a bit. Like I try to take because I got a bus pass for my work, which is really handy and really cheap. Like I just paid for the next year. It's only $134, and I can take the buses, and the bus is unlimited. And the thing is, like, the public transportation system in Washington is actually fairly decent. Like I can get pretty much anywhere I need to. It'll take a long time, but it's cheap. It's very cheap. But the problem is buses only run so late, right? So I go hang out with people till 11 at night, 12 at night, 1 at night, whatever the case may be. I have to take an Uber back if I can't get a ride from a friend. Which I'm the kind of person, like, I will never ask for a ride because I don't want to be a burden. I'll accept one if someone offers freely, but I will not ask. That's just not something I am capable of. I am too socially uptight for that. Ow. But anyway, it's just another thing it's just kind of gross, because it's like, from what I understand, like, driving for Uber is not great. And also the whole, like, calling it a gig thing it's just a way to avoid paying benefits, which, it is sort of like contract work, so I guess it in some ways makes sense, but don't act like it being a gig is like a good thing, because it's got its drawbacks. Which is, not having paid time off, not getting health insurance, although health insurance, it's not always great. My health insurance is through my work. I mean, they have good options, but I was like, I don't want to pay a lot of money, so I've got real crappy insurance, and the deductible is quite absurd, and that's fine. If I get something real bad, then I'll get helped, and if it's not so bad, then I can, I guess, afford it. I don't know. But anyway, I just didn't like that ad. It feels, again, deceitful, manipulative, and doesn't really give the whole truth about what driving for a rideshare company is really like. Oh no, it's another Buzz Lightyear.
I have a laser. I will use it.
Yeah. That was good. Yeah, that was real good. Okay. Yeah, green laser helps out quite a bit on bosses. So anyway, now that I've talked about the things that have annoyed me this week, let's talk about movies. So I'm going to start with, and I don't know why, I don't really need to do this, but I'm going to anyway. I'm going to talk about Elvis, and I mean, everyone knows the story of Elvis, so not really any spoilers, but I'm going to put it up anyway. So I wrote down notes to try to keep track of my thoughts so that I don't get as sidetracked by the game as I did last week. Which I'm almost tempted to just like not even play games during this, because it really is distracting. But anyway, let's talk about Elvis. Elvis is a fine movie. So it is anchored by two very good performances, in my opinion, by one Austin Butler, who I've never heard of before this movie, who Like, he has the look, he has the sound, he has the voice. Like, he just becomes Elvis as far as I'm concerned. Like, he looks and sounds like Elvis. That's all you really need. And, you know, he seems like a decent enough actor to back that up as well. And then Tom Hanks. Oh, gosh, he's good. He is good in this movie as, because he comes across as very vile, which is, what the character is. A terrible person. So anyway, 2 great performances there, and, you know, the supporting cast is all good as well, but no one else gets quite as much to do as those 2. So let's see. So I've only actually, apparently, and I didn't even know this until I looked it up. Apparently, I have seen one Baz Luhrmann movie before. Australia, the Hugh Jackman, Nicole Kidman movie about Australia, which I was not aware was a Baz Luhrmann film at that time. I probably didn't even really care about directors very much. Didn't really know much about ones that weren't named Steven Spielberg. But now I know. And so, basically my entire impression of Baz Luhrmann as a director is based purely on trailers. So when I think Baz Luhrmann, I think flashy lights and bright colors, because of like Moulin Rouge and Great Gatsby and all that. Yeah, this is a race, by the way. And so this movie, it's not quite as bombastic visually as I would have expected from Baz Luhrmann. Again, based purely on trailers, but there definitely is a lot of it, especially when they're doing, oh, no. You know what I can do? You know what I can do? You know what I can do? I can do that. Particularly when they're showing shots of, like, the International Hotel, and they do, like, all sorts of these, like, crazy zooms and pans and things like that that are very bombastic. And for me, the whole Baz Luhrmann of it all is very, and I hate to say this, but very style over substance. Like, I don't know that the visuals really add a whole lot to the story or the plot. And so I found it mostly just distracting, especially for a biopic. Like, it's one thing for like Rocket Man, where they had kind of like these fantastical scenes, but that's because it's supposed to be like,
no time to lose.
You know, his kind of view of the world. Whereas here, Elvis isn't even in the scenes that these crazy visuals are in. So I found them to be kind of superfluous and just kind of like, okay, can you back off, my man? But anyway, that's just my thought on the Baz Luhrmann visual style. What else did I take note of here? Oh yeah, so I wasn't sure about like the accuracy of it all, because I don't know a lot about Elvis before this. Like, I never really listened much to Elvis. I don't know if I'd ever seen any of the movies that he was in, or simply just aware of them. Like, I definitely had seen like clips, but I don't know if I'd ever seen a full movie. But yeah, I didn't really know a lot about Elvis, so there's a lot of things I wasn't sure about, and I got an answer on a few of that, actually. Like, there's a scene towards the end where he learns about Colonel Parker's non-citizenship thing, and that's why he wouldn't do an international tour. Wouldn't set up an international tour. And like, he finds that out, so then like on stage he has like this blow up where he calls him out for it, and then as the curtains draw, he starts yelling, "You're fired! You're fired! You're fired!" Which is like a really intense scene, and like, you know, kind of scene gives you chills. Apparently, like, that straight up didn't happen. Apparently, Elvis never even knew about the immigration thing, and how Colonel Parker was, spoiler, not an American. Was he like, he was from Holland or something? I don't know. Should have paid more attention to that. What am I doing? I need to find Ham. I need to find the last... See, I'm getting distracted again. So anyway, I don't know how accurate the movie was as a whole. Apparently there were a lot of, like, weird or little inaccuracies and stuff. I didn't... So it's like, it's hard for me to tell if I should even take anything from this movie about, as far as, like, learning about... Hey, can you back off? Yeah, that's what you get. This is a bad idea on my part. Yep. So I might actually have not learned anything about Elvis. For all I know, I might have just gotten a lot of bad information. I have no clue. Might just be more of a character study rather than a true telling of a life story. I don't know. Where am I going? Alright, Ham's over here? No. Or here? Oh yeah, and another thing, so as I was going into the theater, there's this guy that works there, definitely recognizes me all the time, which I kind of hate. Like, let's go into my neuroticism here a little bit. I hate when people, like, service people recognize me. I just I don't want that. For, like, I only want to talk to people in social situations. I can carry a conversation. I'd say I'm pretty good in actual social situations, but outside of that, like, I kind of just don't want to talk to people. So I'm walking. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Anyway, I was walking into the theater. He's like, "What are you saying?" And I was like, "What are you saying today?" Because he always asks me that. It's like, "I'm seeing Elvis." Dying a lot. Oh right, this is the danger zone. I don't know where the last green guy is. Oh, actually, I might know. And he goes, "Oh, it's a good one." And then, but then he also goes, "But it's also a long one." I was like, and he says 3 hours. I was like, what? I'm starting to get tired of going into movies not knowing they're 3 hours long, and then realizing that all of a sudden. Although at least I got a little bit of a forewarning on this one. Oh, what's up there? Ow! I got very bad at this game. But I don't think it's quite 3 hours, because I went inside at like 2:15. I got out about 5:15, which is 3 hours, but you gotta remember previews. I'm thinking it's probably close to like 2 hours and 40 minutes or something like that. I could look it up, but I don't... How do I get in here? I don't want to. But it is, at the same time, even if it's not 3 hours, too long. It is a very all-encompassing movie that, really goes, like, from the beginning of his not really the beginning of his life, but the beginning of his career to the end of his career, because, like, it starts with them hearing one of his songs on the radio, and they're like, "We gotta get this guy," or Colonel Parker is like that anyway. How do I... Oh, hold on, can I get in through here? No. I don't remember how to do this. It's been so long. Anyway, it's there, and so it starts there, and then I clearly don't need a thing, but then it goes to, like, every stage of his career. His early days, and then also, like, there's apparently, like, a new Elvis at one point, which really gives me a new Coke vibes. Because it was a product that nobody wanted. They changed what everyone loved, and then everyone hated the new one, and they're like, "Oh, maybe we should go back to the old one." Or at least Elvis thought that, or at least according to the movie, Elvis thought that, as opposed to Mr. Parker, Colonel Parker. I'm not gonna call him Colonel. He's a tool. I'm gonna call him Mr. Because he wasn't an actual colonel. It's like the whole thing. Is there a green guy in here? Yeah. I don't know what all I'm missing, but I'm just gonna leave after I turn in these green dudes. Or dudettes. Deuterinos. What have you. So yeah, they definitely could have cut a lot out, and it would have been fine. But there's certainly a lot of interesting stuff that again, I don't know how much of it I can trust, but a lot of interesting stuff I didn't know about Elvis. Like I never knew he apparently did a protest song at one point. That was news to me. Elvis doesn't seem like protest guy, but I guess he at one point was during what was supposed to be a Christmas special, but it kind of wasn't, which was kind of cool. Let's see. Oh yeah, the one thing. So like, what's well documented in outside of this movie is pill addiction, right? Like he had a pill addiction, or some sort of I think it was pills. I could be wrong. I mean, he definitely takes multiple pills throughout the movie. I feel like, and they do touch on that a lot, but I feel like it could have used even more focus, because like when they're driving to like Hollywood, I think for the first time, or when they're going on the road for the first time, I can't remember what the scenario was, but someone hands him a pill. It was like, "Here, it helps you to get more focused," or they say something along those lines, and he takes it or whatever. But then they don't bring that up again till like the end of the movie when he has the doctor that keeps him supplied, as well as like when he almost like ODs, like gives him some sort of like adrenaline or something to keep him performing, because Colonel Parker's got those, Mr. Parker's got those debts, those gambling debts that's gotta be paid off, so you gotta keep him performing. So anyway, I just feel like they touch on the pills, but they don't really go into it much, and I feel like they probably should have more, even though I'm saying they should have cut out a lot. I'm now also saying they should have added something. I don't know. And then so a concern I had going in, especially, so Elvis has a lot of like black artist influences. That's part of his whole thing, and I didn't know. Apparently he actually did grow up in a black community, which that makes it make way more sense why his style of music is the way that it is.
Mayday, Mayday, come in, Star Command. Send reinforcements. Star Command, do you copy?
But going into this movie, you really had to worry about the whole white savior thing, and you know that was on the director's mind, the writer's mind. It was on everybody's mind. It's like, we cannot make a white savior movie, and so they really towed that line, I feel like, because like they wanted to show that he like cared about things that mattered, like the assassination of MLK and Robert Kennedy, and he had that protest song, and he was like, they definitely depicted him as being anti-segregation, and so he did that his performance of like being old Elvis again after being new Elvis for a while was kind of like an anti-segregation thing, especially because like black people started to fill in the crowd amongst all the white people. But they definitely clearly didn't want to be like, and Elvis solved segregation. You know that they were very concerned about coming across as that, and so they definitely tried to not, while also making him be on the right side of the issue. Hey. And also one thing I noticed is that he gets a lot of advice from black people in the movie, but he like never once gives advice to a black person, which again is to avoid the white savior thing. Like they don't want to be like, and Elvis helped black people, because obviously he was very successful off of black music, and he did grow, again, him growing up in a black community does make that seem less problematic, but what's problematic isn't that he performed that music, because again, he was really a part of that culture, so it's less cultural appropriation than someone who just starts doing, then like, let's be honest, like Kenny G or someone like that, right, who plays like modern jazz. But what is problematic is that he was far more successful performing that music than most black artists. And there's a thing at the end of the movie that said he was the most successful... I'm just curious about the accuracy of this. Oops, why am I doing this? This is a mistake. Yeah. Oh, apparently getting... Oh, that's interesting. It's kind of a... They say he's the most successful solo, like the highest selling solo artist of all time. Is that true? Because honestly, I would have thought that would have been Michael Jackson. Would have been my guess, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it really was Elvis. I don't know. I have no idea. They said it, so it must be true. I don't know. Alright, can you just die already? Can I just do this? I can. Oops. My headphones are getting caught in my analog sticks. It's not helping. Oops. Okay. So I don't know. As a white person myself, like I can't really decide if this movie is a white savior movie or not. Like that's not for me to tell. But I know they definitely towed the line, and I'm not sure what side of the line they ended up on, but it definitely has to be touched on, right? Like it's the elephant in the room, I would say. So a couple other things. So one thing I did like about it is that it's kind of like it's very much a sell your soul to the devil kind of movie, with Tom Parker very much being the devil, just the devil incarnate. Whether the actual guy was as bad as depicted or not, like the character in the movie is the devil. Just like so self-serving, so manipulative, so just awful. Like even like right at the very beginning, before he even met Elvis, this just tells you what a scumbag he is. And this goes to the whole racial issue. But when they're first listening to the guy on the radio and they're like, oh, he's going to play on the hayride tonight after me. One of the musicians said that. And they're like, and he's like, they would never let a black person play on the hayride. Which I don't know why they call it hayride. It was on stage. I don't get Southern stuff. But they're like, that's the thing. He's white. You gotta say it like, he's white. You gotta say it like that. All Southern drawl like. Ooh, the grappling hook. I like it. Which it was just a really uncomfortable scene to watch because it's like everyone seemed like so relieved that it was a white guy, and it's just like, and I know that was like the time, so it's like you gotta depict it that way, but it's just like, ugh, it just gave me the heebie-jeebies. And then Colonel Parker was like, he's white, and you could just tell, like, you see the gears moving. It's like, oh, I can exploit this. Then like if he's white, it's okay for me to make money off this guy. Or not even that it's okay, but that like that means it's possible to make money off this guy. It's just like, ugh, just ugh. And then so the one thing I really didn't like, and honestly, it took the I timed that wrong. It took me right out of the movie. So there's one thing with period, and I know I'm pretty sure Baz Luhrmann has gone to this well before with like The Great Gatsby. I never watched it. But like I think from what I can tell from like trailers and whatnot, like they used a lot of modern music in that movie, even though it takes place in the roaring 20s. Now, having not seen the movie, I can say I'm kind of okay with that because it's a fictional movie. But this is a biopic, and they only do it, as far as I can remember, twice. Although no, 3 times if you count the credits. And oh, that's a whole other thing. Hold on, I need to look up a line from a song, because I was going to talk about this and I'm like, hold on. Okay, I've got the line pulled up from another song. So, yeah, I didn't like the use of, so what they, for the most part, 2 out of 3, and 2 out of 3 ain't bad. This, as far as I could be wrong about this, and I'd feel very stupid if I was wrong about it. Oh, hold on, rewind. Don't be stupid. Be smart. I can just do this. Oh, right, the mice. I remember the mice from this level. Oh, that's a bad idea. But as far as I can tell, the two that are within the movie, not at the credits, are black artists. So it's clear that the movie wanted to make sure to represent black musicians in this movie. But I just feel like it would have been better served if, and they kind of do it, but if they had used, you know, the black artists that like actually inspired Elvis, which they do use that music. But like one of the modern songs was like a remix of Hound Dog, which was, I don't know, it was just weird. Not a huge fan of it. I think Hound Dog is fine just the way it is. I mean, like it starts with someone in Club Handy, which is a club he went to, a black club that he went to even during segregation. Because again, he really was a part of that culture growing up, apparently, which again was news to me. How do I use this again? Right. Now, what's the button that I press?
You don't want to be in the way when my laser goes off. Hey, over here, bud.
Okay, R1 and square. Okay, I figured it out. It starts off with someone singing Hound Dog, and I feel like, I don't know if it was the original voice or just one of their original voices, but it sounds, because I've got a version of that song on my Spotify playlist, but it's like from the A Few Good Men soundtrack, but the voice sounds identical, so I'm not sure if that person, the actress in the movie, is just mimicking that voice like very, very well, or if they actually did use that recording. But it's very good, but then it's all of a sudden starts kicking in like a modern beat, and then it's some other modern musician remixing Hound Dog. I was like, not a big fan of remixes. Make new stuff. Leave the old good stuff alone. Anyway, didn't like the modern music, but the thing I wanted to talk about that's crazy, I couldn't believe they do it. So the credits are playing, start walking out. All of a sudden, I hear Eminem's voice. I'm like, what? That was the last thing I expected to hear, because again, it seems like the movie wants to very much represent, even though being about a white artist, definitely representing black artistry. But then all of a sudden you got Eminem, who is has a very parallel to Elvis, in that he also grew up in a, you know, predominantly black culture, and performs predominantly black music, and is very successful at that, and honestly more successful than most black artists, which again is problematic in the success, again, not necessarily that he performs the music, but that for some reason he is more successful at it. Well, we say for some reason, we know what that reason is. But there's even a line in the song Without Me. This is the line I pulled up because I want to get it right. There's a line in his song, I am the worst thing since Elvis Presley to do black music so selfishly and use it to get myself wealthy. And then he talks about, there's a concept that works, 20 million other white rappers, and all that. Which, it's just wild that with this kind of, you know, debate of whether or not it's cultural appropriation, whether or not it's acceptable for, you know, these artists, that these very, again, like supremely successful white artists performing black music, whether it's acceptable or not. But like, it just seems like lacks self-awareness to use Eminem in the credits, and I legitimately do not understand why they did that. And I actually kind of like Eminem, if I'm being perfectly honest. Especially the Eminem Show. I really like that album. But anyway, very, very strange. So anyway, that's my take on Elvis. And honestly, because of the modern music, it really takes you, especially for a biopic, it really takes you out of it. Cause it's like, it seems like because it's a very grounded movie. It's not very fantastical. Oh, actually, there was one other thing I want to talk about that was weird. So they have this narration structure because Mr. Parker, again, I refuse to call him Colonel. Mr. Parker is narrating the film. He's the film's narrator, but they have this, so it's like he's like dying at the beginning of the movie of some sort of ailment, and they have this thing where it's like in his brain he's like in an empty casino and he keeps like going onto like roulette tables and slot machines and because again it's playing on his gambling addiction. But they do it like a whole bunch right at the beginning of the movie, and then they just like completely abandon it for like another third of the movie, for like the entire second act basically, and then they kind of bring it back towards the end of the second act and in the beginning of the third act. It just feels weird. It feels like it should have been more consistent throughout the movie, but hey, I'm no director, I'm no editor. What do I know? So anyway, with the modern music really taking me out of like the immersion of being in this time period, being in this world that Elvis is inhabiting, I give it a 7.5. 7.5. Solid movie. I have some problems with it, but all in all, not bad. It's worth it just to see Tom Hanks being just the worst, being just the absolute worst. Anyway, that's my thoughts on Elvis. So now we're going to shift to another movie that I had never heard about until.
You don't want to be in the way when my laser goes off.
I was looking in the Regal app to see what movies were playing, and I was like, what is that? I had no idea, and I'm kind of very glad I had no idea. So honestly, if you haven't, I would honestly say, and it's not even like a twist thing or anything, I would say you'd be better served to not know what this movie is going into it. So if you haven't seen it, or maybe don't even listen to what I'm about to say. Hold on, I'm taking forever to do that. Phantom of the Open was a very, very interesting movie, a story I never heard, had no idea the movie was coming out. So it stars Mark Rylance, who has been in a bunch of things lately. And I have a couple notes on his performance, which is very interesting and good, but there's some things I'm confused about. It's also got Sally Hawkins, and who doesn't love Sally Hawkins? Sally Hawkins is great. And then also Rhys Ifans, and a bunch of other people that I didn't recognize. A lot of British people. It's a British movie. I think a lot of Scottish people too, because I think that's right. They were in Scotland. There's some, I can't remember the name of the place, but so anyway, Phantom of the Open. So what it is about? I'm going to spoil it. Yeah, it's not really a twist, but it's kind of honestly like I'm glad I didn't know what the movie was going in, because I think I had a better enjoyment. You'll have if you don't know, you'll have anticipation of things happening. Whereas if you do know, then that anticipation is going to be gone and you're not going to worry about it. So it's about this guy who he works as a crane operator in some, like port or whatever in Scotland. Oops. And so he meets this woman, Sally Hawkins, like she's got a kid, they get married, so he kind of adopts the kid. Then they have two other kids, twins in fact, that's very important to note. So then you fast forward a bunch of years, and he's still working as a crane operator, and the son, not his biological son, the one he's adopted, that's her son, has taken kind of an executive position, like a managerial position at this crane facility, and he informs his father that that their location is being nationalized, which means a lot of redundancies, which means a lot of people are going to get laid off, And so Sally Hawkins' character, being the awesome supportive, she's, by the way, just like the emotional center of the movie, and she's like just like an absolute rock, and just like great performance, great character, love her to death. She is like, you've sacrificed so much for us over the years, and now it's your turn. Like you figure out what you want to do with the rest of your life, because like you know, dream big is basically what she's saying. Oh no. And so he has no idea what he wants to do, because he knows he's most likely going to lose his job, but he's got no ideas. Oh my god, I hate this part. I remember hating this part a lot as a kid. So then he accidentally ends up, just by chance, turning to a golf game on the TV, on the telly, as they would say. Oh, I forgot. I didn't even include Taskmaster in the list. I should talk about Taskmaster because they had Champion of Champions. I just got thinking about British stuff. I was like, oh yeah, Champion of Champions. It was very good. Okay. These controls are whack and I hate them. But anyway, he happens upon a golf match, and then like it's just like an epiphany. It hits him. It's like, that's what I want to do. And I was very confused by. So at this point in the movie, not knowing anything about the story, I'm thinking, okay, so this is gonna be a story about a guy who like doesn't start golfing until he's like 45 years old or whatever, and then like somehow becomes like a great golfer, and has like maybe even wins a tournament or something. This is not that movie, and it kind of tells you that right away. But I was not, I guess, not paying close enough attention to it, because I thought, oh, he just has room to improve. But he has like this dream sequence, which I really, really liked, because I really don't like dream sequences in movies that are otherwise like very grounded. You know, it works in something like Big Lebowski, where it's, you know, a lot of drug influences in that. But what I really liked about this, so it's clear, because this is all about someone dreaming big and daring to dream and like chasing. And his parenting style with these kids was always to be like, do what makes you happy, like chase after your dreams. Like his two twin sons wanted to dance. He's like, hey, is there a tournament for dancing? You should join a tournament for dancing. And he suggested to his adopted son, he's like, you should be an astronaut. All these things, just like, you know, seemingly unrealistic dreams.
You don't want to be in the way when.
But it's clear from some flashbacks we get early on that I think his earlier dreams as like a child was to be an artist, because they keep showing him painting this one specific painting. I can't remember exactly what. I feel like there's some sort of like tower, and then there's like a bunch of like stars, but like big stars, like kind of like moon size. Like when you look in the sky, you see a moon, see the moon, like that kind of size of stars. And there's like 5 or 6 of them in the sky. Real pretty painting. But they never really addressed that. Oh, you're just you. But in this dream sequence, like the stars become a golf ball, the tower becomes a golf tee, and it's like, so it's like this cool like transition of like connecting his old dreams with this like this newfound dream of wanting to be a golfer. So he like, apparently because he like in the dream he like falls from the sky, so he like screams, and so his family like runs in. It's like, we heard screaming, and then he just like doesn't say a word, just like sets up like a coffee cup, and then gets like an umbrella and like a marble, and he sets it up to like putt, and he's like 10 feet away, and he hits this marble, and it goes like at a 45-degree angle to the side. It doesn't go straight, bounces off a couple things, and then miraculously, oh, there's one up there, miraculously goes in the coffee cup. And I'm like, oh, was that supposed to show that he has like just like a natural gift for this? Because like, you know, most people would just hit it straight and just go in. He didn't. Turns out, no, that's not what they were saying at all.
You don't want to be in the way when my laser goes off.
Boom. Easy solve. I mean, this game is for kids. I think that opens up this, right? Yep. So anyway, I really like that dream sequence. Really like this first instance of him golfing. So he's like, I'm gonna join the British Open, right? Which is, you know, very prestigious tournament. But he's like, I have no idea how to do that. So he writes. It's one of the. I almost wonder if they use that actual footage for this, like actual. Ooh, hello. Oh, that's bad. But he writes into like this TV sportscaster, this like golf sportscaster, asking how to join the British Open. And the guy answers the question, was like, "But don't steal your parents' credit card, kid. You gotta be responsible." It's like really insulting. But it has no idea that an adult has written to him, which is really funny. Probably the funniest thing in the movie. So anyway, he applies for. I'm just gonna jump for it. Whatever. It's fine. I can rewind. Now I know to go. I mean, it's detrimental, but it's not the worst. Is there a way to... Do they come all the way down now? They do not. Is there a quick way back up? Oh, there is, but I haven't set it up yet. So I'm going to do the smart thing and just be like, I'll get that mouse later. I remember this part always confusing the heck out of me as far as like what I was supposed to do.
No time to lose.
But anyway, so he applies for the U.S. Open. Not U.S. Open, British Open. Did I say U.S. Open earlier as well? I don't know. For the British Open, and this is a case. This movie demonstrates, and this real life story demonstrates why you absolutely should lie on your resume, because you will get away with it. 'Cause he marked that he was a professional, which means. So when they saw that, instead of like evaluating his qualifications or anything, they're just like, oh, he marked he was professional? Well, that means he's a professional golfer. Let him in. Like, that's literally the I don't know if that's the conversation that happened in real life or not, but that's what happens in the movie. No, I want it up on that green one. So the thing is, they're color coded, so you gotta like take note of that. So I'm just gonna go as high as I can first. That's my goal. Just go as high as possible first, and then work my way down. So anyway, yeah, lie on your resume. It'll work out for you. It worked out for him because he got into the British Open by claiming to be a professional. So anyway, the crux of the movie is he then gets into the British Open, and I'll say this, the first match is really hard to watch because he is terrible. Oh shoot. Like absolutely awful at golfing. Like they do this real interesting thing where he hits, oops, oh, I thought it was going to be a swingy thing. Where he hits the ball and he closes his eyes and they show the ball like shoot off into the sky, but they don't really show where it goes because they cut back to his face. He still just has his eyes closed, and then he looks, he's like trying to find out where the ball is, and it's like 20 feet in front of him, you know, on like a 480-foot hole. And it just gets worse from there. And so then once Reese Ifans, he plays the guy who's like running the British Open. Once he finds out, he tries to like kick him out of the tournament, but kind of tries to get him to leave the tournament because I don't think he had the authority to actually kick him out. Oops, I was missing because I wasn't paying attention. So he kind of like implies like, hey, you should retire is the word he uses. But our guy, he's dreaming too big. He's having none of it. So he continues playing and just continues playing horribly. Has a terrible first open. So then I'm like, Oh yeah, and then they ban him not only from joining the British Open. Well, actually, they sort of banned him from joining the British Open, and it kind of worked like a kind of roundabout way, because they banned him from signing up for any of the countries. Oh no, come on. Golf clubs, with the excuse being, oh, he's a professional, which means he can't sign up. But then the thing is, like, professional players are allowed free use of any of the golf courses in the country, but you have to have a PGA card, and obviously he has no such thing. How have I not gotten this yet? So he can't actually, oh gosh, join in. Really? Can't actually join any of the golf clubs, so he can't really practice. And then to, like, in a really painful scene to try to prove that he is capable of being a professional golfer, he goes on this TV show to sink some putts, and he misses every single one of them. This story is wild, but I can't believe this is a real thing that actually happened, and I love it. It's the kind of thing that makes life worthwhile, just knowing that these things exist. Oh yeah, I think you're not actually supposed to catch it. I think it stops at the bottom. Get it? Are you? Jeez, I almost didn't want to give it to me.
You don't want to be in the way of my laser.
So he misses all those. So then his wife has the brilliant idea, and boy, is it brilliant. And I mean that genuinely. That he should just sign up for the British Open as someone else. So he just makes up an identity, Gerard Hoppy, French, as a Frenchman, and he just joins the British Open again marking professional and just getting in. And then he actually starts doing it. So this is the part of the movie where I was like, okay, so this is the part of his redemption arc where he's gonna start, he's gonna enter this tournament and he's gonna do good. He might even, like you know, I didn't have high expectations for his results, but you know, I was like, he's not gonna finish last. Like, that's what, like, he's gonna shoot like a respectable game of golf, which actually it kind of does start that way. He sinks some pars, he gets like a bogey, but you know, professional golfers get bogeys sometimes. But then at one point he ends up in the bunker, and this is where again they kind of mislead you a little bit, because they set up earlier in the tournament, or not in this tournament, in the previous tournament, that like he practices on the beach all the time, which means he might actually be good at hitting out of a bunker. So here he is in the bunker, and you're like, oh, he's got this nailed, and then he hits the ball like 10 times and can't get it out of the bunker. And then gets kicked out of the tournament. Because, okay, so then we'll also talk about how Cliff is just like the worst. So Cliff is like a thief, and you know, some amount of sympathy should be extended towards, you know, desperate people, right? He's not like a violent. Oh, actually, they kind of insinuate that maybe he is violent. Actually, he's never killed anyone. He says that, but he steals like a bunch of clothes and stuff like that he gives. But by the way, the character's name is Morris Flitcroft. I never once said his name. I just called him Mark Rylance, I think. Is this where the boss was? Yeah. Remember, if you get in the corners, you don't get lifted. How many coins do I got? Not enough. Gosh, that's a hard jump to make. But anyway, Cliff is just the worst, because so he's in this tournament as Gerard Hoppy, but Cliff keeps calling him Mo and Morris and all these things, which gets them caught. It's like, Cliff, it's not that hard. Just call him Gerard. Just call him Gerard, you idiot. But he keeps not doing that. So then Siphons is like, oh my gosh, that's Morris Flitcroft, not Gerard Hoppy. And then when he calls cops to come kick them out because they're trespassing, like, I don't think he plans on actually charging them with criminal trespass or anything. He just wants them to leave. But Morris, or not Morris, Cliff, being the wild person that he is like, or because he's had some legal troubles is the reason why. Which side is the mouse on? I don't need coins. I just need this mouse.
Don't want to be in the way when my laser goes off.
Is it on the other side? Oh, it's on the other side. So let's go to this one.
Don't want to be in the way when my laser goes off.
Okay, I think I'm high enough up. Oh, except when I jump too far. So anyway, when the police get called, he freaks out. And has the bright idea that they should run. And so he steals, or that doesn't steal a golf, but he takes their golf cart and gets Morris in it, and then they just drive away on a quite literal police chase. And then they crash it, and of course it's all real bad. But Morris is a good enough person that he's like, all right, you go your separate way. I'll just get arrested by these people. So he gets arrested, and of course banned from the British Open for life. But he's always on a quest to try to get back in the British Open. But he basically doesn't do anything for years and years. There's a whole thing where his two twin sons, they went and became like this dancing duo that did actually win a tournament. But then they had like a show, but then their show got canceled, so then they were completely broke and destitute. And so the son that was working for the crane company, I can't remember, they're not really a crane company, they were using a crane, but I'm just whatever, I can't remember if they're like some sort of factory or something, some sort of industrial, what am I doing? Industrial job. He's like, see, this is why you shouldn't have told them to chase their dreams, because now look at where they are in life. But my thought on that whole thing is like, yeah, like it sucks that they have no money right now, like obviously that's terrible. And that like it puts them in a bad position, but it's like they like accomplish something. Like they can say something that very few other people on the planet that or have ever been on the planet can say, and that's so cool to me. Like I'm in a point in my life where it's like I can pay the bills and everything, but like I've accomplished absolutely nothing, and that depresses the hell out of me. Like I would love to have won a dancing competition at some point in my life, because then I'd be like my life was worth something. But like I have such an unfulfilled life right now. But like, hey, I can pay the bills. Ain't that great? I mean, it is great. Like, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, like, it feels like there's something missing. You know what I mean? Anyway, not to get too real, but like to say that they should never have become dancers when they really, really accomplished something cool, it's just crazy to me. And it's just like it'd be like one thing if they like had never gone it, like they never won any competition and never had any success at all. But then again, that's like the whole point of the movie, is that it's like you really got to dare to dream. Like even if you don't make it, like just try it, because if you don't try, you will regret it for the rest of your life. And it's like Morris Flitcroft, despite never being a good golfer, never being a successful golfer, is like a true inspiration. He's honestly, he's my personal hero now. I'm so glad I know this story because it's so cool. I think I might be talking myself into giving this a higher point than I was originally going to. But like, so after 10 years of not doing anything, and they had to move out of their house, they've got like an RV now, a mobile home. Like they're clearly like running into all, and this again where the wife, Sally Hawkins, so great, where the son's like, he made your life miserable, look at where you are at now. And she goes like on this whole monologue about like how great her life has been with Morris, and like how dare, like you can't tell me he made my life miserable, like that's my decision on how I feel about that, and it's not what you think. I can't remember where Ham is. And so I'm just kind of running around like an idiot. Where is Ham? I have no idea. Oh, I do remember. And that's a really cool scene of her giving that speech. It's very, very emotional, very well done, very well acted, very well written. But it's like, so after all this time of not doing that, he gets a letter from America, from a golf club in America. I'm ending up synopsizing this movie a lot more than I thought I was going to. But anyway, he gets a... Oh gosh, I'm going to get zapped. Or not. Gets a letter from America, a golf club in America, a country club in America. And they're like, we've been running a tournament for the last 10 years, ever since your first British Open. Called the Morris Flitcroft Open or something like that. And it's all about like the highest score wins. Which for those of you who don't know, golf typically the lowest score wins. Because it's the lowest number of shots to get in the hole. They're like, yeah, we just want to have fun with it. We think you're a real inspiration. And it's like, that's so good, because it really is, because he's like the perfect example of like not letting anybody stand in your way and just going for it. The fact that he faked an identity, Gerard Hoppe, to join a second time is so funny and so cool. And so he goes, so they invite him over to America to just play in this tournament. And it's funny because he like hits like this real good drive, you know, and this TV reporter's like, man, are they sure they got the real Morris Flitcroft? And I don't know, this is probably just for dramatic effect or comedic effect, and probably didn't actually happen. But he just smacks the ball just directly at the camera that the news reporter was talking into. It's very funny stuff. So anyway, so then the movie ends, basically, which is like, yeah, he never like made it as like a successful golfer who won tournaments or anything like that, but like, dude chased his dreams, and he is far more persistent than anybody could ever claim to, and to the point where, you know how in biopics, because this is a biopic, I guess I saw 2 biopics this weekend. Interesting. I had never heard of this guy before. I had heard of Elvis. What am I doing? But they do the thing where it's like, they say what happened like after the movie, right? And apparently he joined the British Open 3 more times as 3 more identities. Oh man, which is so, one was like Duke Vaughn something. I can't remember what the second one, and the third one was Arnold Palmtree, which I have to assume is a Arnold Palmer reference, a play on Arnold Palmer, which is just so funny. Oh, actually, I forgot, there was a third one before all that, because there was one who oh right, because someone in America, yes, I remember now, someone in America was telling him how a lot of Americans get invited to the British Open, but never go because for whatever reason they don't like the weather in England. They can't afford to travel. They don't want to travel. Whatever the case, or they're busy. You know, whatever the case, they don't accept the invitation. And he names one such golfer, and so Morris has the brilliant idea of just taking that person's identity and joining the British Open as that person. Which is, again, really, really funny. And great. And Morris Flitcroft is my new personal hero. I aspire to be like Morris. Just remember, practice is the road to perfection. That's what he says all the time. Even though he practices a lot and is never perfect. Oh, it's great. So just some things I wanted to talk about, because I didn't actually plan on synopsizing it, but I did. So one thing I noticed, and I don't know if it's intentional or not, but there's a lot of like dark lighting in the beginning of the movie, or even when they were just like inside in rooms that had just like lights, like it always seemed darkly lit, but then once he started golfing, maybe I'm reading into this, but like then it was bright light. So I think that gives kind of like a, kind of a change in his. Oh gosh. I just realized those Those are kind of racial caricatures, aren't they? Eee. 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 Didn't think that this game would be problematic, but that kind of is. Anyway. What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? Alright, Jesse. I'm trying to figure out how to get up. How do I get up? So you can come up here. Can I get there from here? Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna stop for a second.
Over here, bud.
No time to lose.
So yes, one thing I loved about the characters, he just takes everything in stride. Like, he rarely ever shows anger. Even when he is angry, he doesn't really show it, which I really like about him. I feel like more people need to be like that and just like not be annoying by being like outwardly stressed out. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, and there was a Superman shot that I particularly liked. Again, where this like the golfing was like his new life, his new identity for him. Where he's getting out of his factory job as a cannon operator, and he's like he literally like takes the two hands Superman style, and, like opens up his shirt, opens up like the jumpsuit or whatever that he was wearing for his job, and he's got the polo vest or whatever, the flannel vest underneath. It's just a great shot that I really appreciated. Oh yeah, this is just a note I had. Who doesn't shake the hand of someone who's like not a jerk? Like, it's one thing if someone's being a jerk, but like he's trying to join a country club at one point. And I'm gonna get into how much I hate country clubs in a second. But these three members approach him and are like, "What are you doing?" Because he's like on the grass. He's like listening to the grass because he's a bit of an oddball, right? A lovable oddball, but definitely an oddball. And so he starts talking to them and how he wants to join the country club. He tries to join them, but they're like, we don't. They made up some excuse of why they couldn't, why he couldn't join them. And then so of course to save face, he was like, "Oh, you know what? I appreciate the offer, but I actually wanted to play by myself today," which is kind of endearing in a weird way. Oh gosh. That he just refused to be embarrassed about it, and just made up an excuse himself. But then he like offers to shake his hand, and he hasn't been mean or anything to them. He's just been a little bit odd, and they just don't shake his hand. So I just wrote down on my notes, who doesn't shake? Because it's just like, what jerks, what snobs? Like, my God, it wasn't like he looked scary or like it just like it bugged me. Which it was supposed to, right? But anyway. Which, by the way, I tried to take notes in the theater. That turns out to be very hard to do because it's, dark. I can't remember if I can destroy these things. Oh, I can, but there's always like a button. There's always a button to press. Oh, starting. Oops. Can I just like ignore you? Yeah, okay. Oh, right. I forgot how annoying those were. What else did I want to talk about? Oh yeah, country clubs are so like again those members were snobbish, but then also like the guy like the manager or whatever was running down like the list of like steps to join, which just seemed like I don't know if he was lying because he he had like dirt on his face and stuff because he'd been listening to the grass. So I don't know if he was lying just to like try to get the guy to go away, or if these were the actual steps. But either way is so snobby because either he's trying to keep someone from joining for no reason other than he doesn't like the look of them, or they've got just a very convoluted multi-step process that's just requires way too much, because they're like, you need to have a recommendation from somebody, and you need to have played around with at least two members, so that they can evaluate your skill level, and then you can pay to join and all this. And like, why not just make people pay? Like, why do you have to go jump through all these hoops? Like, what? Like, it's just a freaking golf course. Like, if you can afford to pay, then like, that's not an enemy. That's a thing in need of rescuing. I like how I destroyed that thing, like, basically after I was already done with the room. So it was kind of pointless.
Don't want to be in the way when my laser goes off.
So anyway, not a fan of country clubs. I think it's all just elitist BS. Oh yeah, there's this flat. So sometimes when I'm seeing a movie, like, I can identify a motif, I can identify symbolism, but then like, I just can't quite figure out what it means. So one thing I just want to note is that there's this flashing light motif, where sometimes in a transition between scenes, they'll cut to just like a screen, like, of all these flashing lights. And I couldn't quite figure it out about why they did that. But I just wanted to point out that it does happen, and that I took note of that. Let's see. The first game was very hard to watch because it was very bad. One thing I didn't understand. So I get why Reese Ifans' character didn't want him in the open, because it's, you know, it's supposed to be like this prestigious tournament, so you don't want this guy kind of sullying the, you know, the kind of honor and respect of the game, of the tournament. But like, clearly everybody loved him. Everyone was like applauding him every time he sunk a ball, even if it was, you know, 10 shots, 11 shots, 12 shots. It's like, people love an underdog, even if they do indeed suck, right? The fact that he was trying is so cool. So I get why he wanted to kick him out, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, just let him play. But what I really didn't understand was like the company that he worked for, that was kind of unknowingly sponsoring him. They were like mad that their name was associated with him. I was like, these people who are watching this love this guy. Like, your name is getting out there in a very good way. Why are you mad about this? This is a good thing. But they were just like so annoyed with his son. And I was just like, you guys are idiots. And it comes around later when these like, I think they were Japanese business people, where they're forging some sort of deal between their company and this other company. And they're like, are you Morris Flitcroft's son? And the big boss was like, no, he's not related to that guy. It's a common name around here. And the guy's like, but and the character arc for the son was like, at this point, he finally accepted his dad for who he was. And he's like, yes, that is my father. And then the business people are like, oh, that's so cool. We love that guy. And I'm like, yes. Like, how has this not been known the entire time that people love this guy? But anyway, that was weird to me. Ow. Oh yeah, I had a great 70s soundtrack. I think I heard some Earth, Wind, and Fire. Definitely some ABBA, which I found. I love ABBA. They play Money, 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 which is a very, very good song. Love ABBA. It's on my Spotify playlist. Money, Money, Money. Very relatable song. Oh, except for I don't want to marry a rich man, but I do want money. I very much do want money. Oh yeah, there's one thing I was wondering, because there was this journalist that was like following throughout the movie, but like they barely, like, they showed him a lot at the beginning and kind of showed him a lot at the end, but in the middle of the movie they didn't really show him or show what he was doing very much, which was odd to me. This is gonna hurt, but it's worth it for the life. Ow. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I need a shield. Ow, I'm stuck. Oh, right. I remember now. It's been so long. But, like, I'm wondering if the journalist character is, like, Lloyd Duncan or something like that. I kind of wonder if, like, he had a lot more scenes that got cut out or something. Cause it just seemed weird that they introduced him at the beginning, but then, like, barely ever show him. Like, there's, like... And then at the end, they're like, he's been tracking my story the whole time. I was like, has he? Because I haven't noticed him around. So I thought that was weird. But anyway, I was thinking before I started talking about it, I was thinking 8 out of 10 because it was a very solid movie, a little bit sappy, but like I really liked the performances. Oh yeah, that's one thing. Mark Rylance. So like, I'm starting to get the feeling that Mark Rylance, even when he's playing completely different characters, is doing the same thing over and over again, of just like having a bit of a stutter, and then also not making eye contact with other characters. Because I feel like he's done that for like the last 3 movies, between like well, he was in that Ready Player One, right? Like he was the original creator, like Simon Pegg's business partner, right? Where he kind of had that sort of, man, I just can't get that life. It's not worth it. And then he also did that in the Don't Look Up. And so I feel like he's just kind of doing the same thing over and over. It's good. It's compelling. But like, here he's like such a different character than he is in Don't Look Up, but yet they have like a lot of the same mannerisms. It just seems odd to me. But anyway, very good. Sally Hawkins is amazing. Who doesn't love Sally Hawkins again? She's great. I've never actually seen Shape of Water, which is kind of like what people think of when they think of Sally Hawkins. But when I think of Sally Hawkins, I think of Happy-Go-Lucky, Made in Dagenham, which is an okay movie, but she is very good in it. And she's very good in this as well. So all in all, I was thinking 8 at the beginning, but you know what? I think I've talked myself into a 8.5. I very much enjoyed the movie. I think the character is just so cool and such a legitimate inspiration that this guy did this, that just joined the British Open 6 times, 5 times as false identities, just so he could play golf badly in these professional tournaments. It's great. It's great. It really is great. I really do love it. So anyway, Phantom of the Open, 8.5 out of 10. Very enjoyable. What am I doing? I'm going this way. Alright, but now, before we continue on, what should I talk about next? Those are the 2 movies. I'm going to pause it because I'm getting shot by cannons. Those are the 2 movies I saw, but I also watched some TV. Let's see. Let's start with Miss Marvel. I don't have a whole lot to talk about it, but it's in my opinion, the most enjoyable episode so far because stuff starts happening. There's some real action, some real cool things. What was really cool, what I really appreciated about the episode, outside of the cool action stuff that we hadn't really gotten in the first couple episodes, was I really liked. And this is something that did exist in the first couple episodes, but it really comes to a head here. Is really exposing me and a lot of white audiences to this culture that I was not, I don't really know a whole lot about. So seeing all their wedding traditions was really cool and really interesting. I really did appreciate that. So I feel like I know a little bit that I probably should have already known. But hey, you gotta learn sometime, right? Doesn't really matter when, as long as you learn it. But a couple of notes I had. So it's like there's a scene where the Jinn, who at first seemed like good guys, but then turned out to kind of be bad guys. They're infiltrating, or they're like raiding this wedding, and they're in the kitchen with all these chefs. And Kamala tries her best to get the chefs to leave. They don't listen because just a teenager just runs in, is like, "You all should leave," and they're like, "Why?" And they find out why very quickly, because this one of the Jinn, just for seemingly no reason, maybe he was playing the knockout game, I don't know, just knocks the hell out one of the chefs, just like walks up to him, just punches him, knocks him out. It's really, really funny, honestly. Oh yeah, this always bugged me as a kid. Shouldn't this room have flooded? Why did this room not flood? It doesn't make any sense. Anyway. The note I wrote down was, why punch chef? Or line cook, or whatever his position was. And also, the Jinn seem to have this ability to manifest weapons. I guess it wasn't really manifesting, but they would take things off their body that were seemingly innocuous, and then they would turn into these cool weapons. But then the main Jinn lady, like, she just grabs a pan. She just grabs a pan off a stove. It's like, I'm gonna use this now. Like, do you not have your own special, unique weapon? Like, that seems odd. Everyone else has like these cool weapons, but you just grab a pan. I don't know. It just seemed weird to me. Anyway, I really liked the episode. Really excited to see where it all goes. I think this was a step in the right direction because a little less slow than the first 2 episodes, so I very much enjoyed Miss Marvel. Oops, I thought you were dead because I was not paying attention. Oh, I need your coin. I need your coin. I was looking at my notes and then I almost missed the coin. The Boys was a wild episode. Where's my notes? Where's my notes? Yes. Okay, so first, I want to talk about Noir's involvement in the Soldier Boy plot because, so he was clearly one of the main reasons the Soldier Boy was able to get captured. And obviously, whatever conversation he had with Edgar in Guatemala is what led to that. So I'm really curious, what he did to facilitate the capture, and B, what did he get out of it? Like, what did Edgar offer? Oh, hello, Snake. What did Edgar offer him that was worth betraying someone that could very easily kill him? I'm very curious to see where that goes and what the answer to those questions are. I found the kind of the commentary on kind of toxic masculinity very interesting, and how it's kind of a very old school concept. It's like we've evolved past that. It's like it takes someone being stuck in time for 30 years or whatever, 40 years, to not understand why dads would carry around their babies and baby Bjorns and whatever. I don't know what you call them. They're little carriers, chest carriers. Okay, this eagle is gonna kill me. Oh, I'm also... I just realized I made a mistake. I hope no one's mad at me because I forgot to do this. Not they boys. The boys. The boys. Center you. Boosh. So I really liked that sequence of Huey talking. Oh my god, you're gonna kill me. Alright, your coin is not worth... Although, you're really in the way of me being able to traverse this place. So...
No time to lose.
I'm going way back. Let's go here. Okay, get you... No, get away. Get away, my bird. Anyway. I also really like the, Homelander scene where he's talking to himself in the mirror, shades of Green Goblin there, but then also, like, it's a little bit different from Green Goblin, because that was more of a split personality thing, whereas this feels more, id versus ego, right? And I looked up, because I was like, I know what ego is. What's id? I'd always heard id versus ego. I want to make sure I get it right. I guess id is like your kind of like base instincts of like what you desire, and ego is like how you accomplish that without getting in trouble, basically. Socially acceptable is what the thing I looked up said. And so it is a very id versus ego conversation with himself in the mirror, because the mirror version is the id. It's like, you should just take what you want. You're all powerful. You don't need anybody's love. You don't need anybody's acceptance. You just need to exert your power. And then he's like, there's a small part of you that's still human, that's still pathetic. Ow. I'm just going all out. And so then the non-mirror version of himself is the ego, like still clinging on to that desire to be loved, to be accepted, which comes out kind of when they're looking at the security footage of Soldier Boy blowing up the Crimson Countess stuff, and he's like so concerned about how that's gonna make the company look and how he's gonna fail as a CEO. It's like, I mean, you are like this all-powerful being that doesn't really need to worry about that, but he still does, which is like gonna be honest. It's gonna be his undoing. It's gonna be his weakness.
You don't want to be in the
And
way
I
when
feel
my laser
real happy about figuring out this whole id versus ego thing because I realized symbolically at the end, so he gets beat in the fight, right? He gets got, and he's able to survive the fight with Soldier Boy, Huey, and Butcher, who are on temp fee. But he has to fly away. He has to run away from the fight. He has to flee, which is something he's never done before, right? He's only ever, killed people. Oh, jeez, that was embarrassing. So he's looking in the mirror, and they're showing the non-mirror version of himself. They never show the mirror version. They never show the id, but they show him not looking in the him looking in the mirror, but they're showing him his non-mirror self. There's a bruise on his cheek, right? So I realized it's bruised ego. You realize he's not all powerful. That he can be beat. And he realizes that he is actually vulnerable. Which is a great scene. Again, bruised ego, id versus ego. I figured it out. I figured out that symbolism. I might not have figured out the flashing lights and Phantom of the Open, but I figured out the id versus ego, bruised ego whole thing. I figured it out. I'm smart. Oh, if only that were true. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah, Kimiko has a bit of an identity crisis, which is really, really tragic because she felt so happy about not having the powers anymore, and that she could finally just be like a normal person. But then she and Frenchie get captured, and she still has a lot of kind of combat experience, so she is able with just normal human strength, able to break free from her restraints by I think she had I don't know where she got the lock pick, but she picked the lock on her cuffs, and then she got in a fight with these big dudes, human dudes, not supers, but they were real big and muscular, and she won the fight, and she stabbed the heck out of a dude with a 9-inch nail. Which I wouldn't be surprised if it was literally a 9-inch nail. It was big. But then she has this identity crisis of realizing even without her power, she's still a killer, which is, Frenchie tries to comfort her, but it's it's kind of true. I mean, they had no choice in that situation, but sometimes you just gotta call it as you see it. And it's I obviously hope that she can lead a normal life at some point, but it doesn't seem like that kind of a show, so. Oh, right, this puzzle. I forgot about this puzzle. It was annoying, if I remember right. I don't remember where I'm trying to get you to go to. I don't need coins anymore. Trying to get you... Am I pushing this off or pushing this way? Oh, I think I remember now. I think I've made my life maybe a little bit more difficult here. I think you have to try to get it to go around the box. Yeah. I wonder, because it's just to get up there. I mean, you don't know if you don't try, right? Maybe I can make this jump. So I'm very sad about Kimiko, and her identity crisis. But maybe she'll figure it out. Maybe she will grow. I mean, she clearly wants to be a different person. That's the first step to change, right? I don't know. So the problem here is I might have to push this train all the way back, or this box all the way back. can just get it to go on that outside track. Let's see, it's on the wrong one right now. Oh, wait, hold on. What does this do? Is there a way to get it to stop? I don't remember. Anyway, I'm getting distracted again. There must be a way to get it to stop. Oh, there is. Okay. I'm an idiot. Can I rewind, like, way far back? Before I ever even push the box, just so I can... Yeah. Get this figured out. Okay, so what do I want it to do? Okay, so now I want it to get on this middle track, which is now the right track. It's not going to help. Which is now the middle track. Oh, that's it! If I can... Okay, hold on. I can go quickly enough. And ignore this one. And just get to that other one. Get it! Ha! That should be good enough. Okay. What else happened? Oh yeah, Ashley is interesting. Because she's kind of getting a taste of that Edgar power. The power he has to have, because the way he would talk to heroes, especially Homelander, was like, man, how is this normal human doing this? And here's Ashley doing the same thing in her talk with A-Train, calling him out for being a hypocrite, for worrying about his loved one getting hurt, but yet he hurts so many other people's, or has hurt so many other people's loved ones over the years. Which is a really interesting conversation of, like, technically she's right, but she's kind of right for the wrong reasons. Because she just wants him to drop the issue, but the issue should not be dropped. But he does need to be called out for being a terrible person. And speaking of which, he kind of gets his character arc kind of wrapped up. He kind of gets his closure. Because he and Huey run into each other at Herogasm, and he genuinely, sincerely apologizes because he realizes how he finally realizes how Huey feels because he's lost somebody. Or, I mean, he didn't, because his brother's still alive. His brother's paralyzed. And so he gives a genuine apology, and then when Blue Hawk, which I just now realized, or not just now, but like just a few hours earlier, I was like, oh, Blue Hawk. He's called Blue Hawk because, you know, police. Like, it took me way too long to figure that out. But he confronts Blue Hawk and then drags him on the concrete in a very murderous way. In that he murders Blue Hawk, who definitely deserves it. It was very brutal. And his heart seemingly gave out at the end. Now, he was still moving and breathing a little bit before they cut. So I'm not convinced he's dead, but again, it is a very natural kind of way to wrap up his storyline. What am I missing? I don't remember. Oh, I do remember. But how do I get there? So A-Train got closure, and I don't know, maybe maybe this is something I was just reading into, but the way he was sprawled out, he kind of looked like an A. I had to feel like that was intentional. His legs kind of spread out in an A shape. And then so this is what I wrote down. Herogasm is wild. I still think it's not the most wild thing we've seen from the show because, again, that termite scene in episode 1 was insane. But yeah, Herogasm is crazy. It's just a big old orgy with super people doing all sorts of super stuff to achieve climax. Oh, and another appearance from Love Sausage, which By the way, I don't know when the boys graphic novel came out. So I don't know who ripped off who, but man, Love Sausage, I'm just saying, he's just Super Ray. He's just Super Ray. And maybe Super Ray is just Love Sausage, I don't know. But Bored to Death was a fun show on HBO, starring Jason Schwartzman as a guy who got broken up with and was like, I need to do something with my life, so I'm going to become an unlicensed private detective. Anyway, he had a friend played by Zach Galifianakis, who was a comic book artist, and his comic was called Super Ray, and the character looked a lot like Zach Galifianakis, or Zach Galifianakis' character anyway, right? He's supposed to be drawing himself essentially, with a long, stretchy penis, much like Love Sausage. So I don't know what came first, but somebody ripped off somebody. I don't know if Super Ray ripped off Love Sausage from the original Boys graphic novel, or if the Boys graphic novel ripped off Super Ray, but somebody ripped off somebody, and I demand answers. Anyway, Herogasm is wild. That's just what I wrote down. Also, oh gosh, it was so... When MM just gets soaked from the ejaculate, that was disturbing, and I did not much appreciate that. So much like Elvis, like this storyline that Huey and Butcher are on is very much a selling their soul to the devil, right? But kind of in two ways, because they're selling their soul to a person that's a devil in Soldier Boy, who is an awful human being, but they need his help, and so they're willing to team up with a terrible person to achieve their goals, which makes them terrible people. Where's Ham? I never remember where anybody is. But also, the fact that they're taking 10V is kind of a figurative selling your soul to the devil. Of just like, doing something that you know is wrong, again, to achieve your goals. And it's going to have consequences. I was one thing, so, because this show can be so darkly lit sometimes, it's hard to tell what's happening. So, at the beginning of the episode, Huey kind of like digs into his ear a little bit, and he pulls the finger out, and it's covered in goo, but I couldn't tell if it was like blood or if it was that green goo that they vomited out before. But there's some sort of biological or physiological consequence happening as a result of taking the 10V. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And you know what? Maybe Huey dies by the end of the season. And maybe Huey, and although Butcher, I feel like can probably take it a little bit better because he's just a stronger person, right? So maybe he'll be less affected. But I don't know. I don't need to be here anymore. But anyway, I also feel like the audience in some ways is being caught selling their soul to the devil, because it's very satisfying to see, oh, I missed the race? I don't even remember what the race is. Hold on. What's the race in this level? I don't remember. So anyway, that's all I gotta say about The Boys. Very good episode. Very good show. Like it a lot. Again, I didn't write down notes on this, but I want to talk about Taskmaster, Champion of Champions. Very good episode. Always love seeing people who we've seen before on again. So seeing Ed Gamble, Kerry Godleman, Lisa Tarbuck, Lou Sanders, and Richard Herring was very fun. Lots of cool tasks. It was sad to see Ed completely fall apart in the middle task. Or was it the first task, or whichever task it was, getting the duck into the pond. Although it was also very good to see Lou excel at that one. Because I'll be honest, I was rooting for either Lou or Ed to win. But Richard Herring is, as Ed said on the Taskmaster podcast, the funniest possible outcome. So that's okay. Oh no, very enjoyable, good tasks. Do wish it was a two-parter like the first one, but I'll take whatever Taskmaster I can get. I guess I should have wrote down Taskmaster spoilers, because I just spoiled who won the Champion of Champions. There's one more show I want to discuss. Where did the notes go? Westworld, got the notes. Okay. Westworld, ooh, I've actually enjoyed all 3 seasons of Westworld. I know, so it seems like the general consensus seems to be first season is amazing. Everyone loves the first season. Second season seems very split, very polarizing. Some people love it, some people hate it. And then the third season, I feel like, oh, right, I remember now. Bullseye doesn't talk. Toy Story 2, the video game. I'm trying to remember where these all are. They might be in different rooms, even. I don't remember. Maybe not. There's only 5 of them. Don't fall. That's still going to cost me, because I don't know if I can get back in time. Whew. Cut that close. Anyway, let's... change this real quick. Okay. Westworld Season 4 premiered on Sunday, and I very much enjoyed it because I've always enjoyed Westworld. It's a very contemplative show, which I kind of like. I like a show that keeps me on my toes, and boy howdy, perfect use of the word howdy for a show called Westworld. But that show keeps you on your toes, because if you're not paying attention, you will miss a lot. In fact, so when I started watching it, I skipped the previously on, because sometimes that can spoil stuff, right? Like in Game of Thrones, I'm talking about Game of Thrones spoiler, like Benjen's return in season 5 or 6, or whatever it was spoiled by them showing him in the previously on. I'm like, oh, he's gonna come back somehow in this episode, and he did. So I skipped it for this, but I really needed it, because I was watching the show and there's a lot of things I was like, man, I do not remember a lot of this happening. And so I watched a season 3 recap after the fact, after I watched the first episode of season 4. I was like, wow, I forgot all of this, which is why maybe, don't take 2 years to make a new season of a show, especially a show that's so high brain function requiring. My brain didn't high function there, but you know what I mean. It's a thinking show, so taking 2 years off is like, oof, not great. So let's see. One thing I noted, they're like, they're talking about someone bought these cartel guys or whatever they were. William at one point calls them cartel, but then also, so I don't really know exactly. I just killed myself. I don't remember, because he dodges the lasers, or actually he doesn't even dodge them, they just don't hurt him. So I think I do need, can I? Okay, so I do deflect, but not at him. So, okay, so lasers do nothing. So I do have to hit him with spins. Oh! Can I reflect the green one? There's something different about the green one. I'm trying to remember what it is. So those are yellow. Those are yellow. Okay, maybe not. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Maybe I don't. Ow. just need to do this. That's not working either. Anyway, back to Westworld. They were talking about him buying their little facility. Oh, maybe I can hit him with the reflections. I don't like this boss fight. Anyway, and they say his money's the same color as everyone else's. I was like, this is a super future. Do they still have cash? And if so, is it still does it still have color? Is it still green? I don't know. Just a note, just a thought I had. Not a very good thought, but a thought nonetheless. So then there's the question of what William is doing, buying, because that's like a data facility where I think Dolores had hidden the data of like all the liberated hosts or something. And apparently it's in that data facility, stored in that data facility, so that's why he's buying it. So and then I'm like, and apparently he's also been buying a bunch of land, so then I think he might be building a new Westworld. So one other thing I should note, and that confuses me, because I didn't remember very much about season 3. I don't like this boss fight. Is apparently William died at the end of season 3. I didn't remember that. He was killed by like a host version of him. So I guess this is a host version of him, not the real him. But I don't know. It's again it's been 2 years, so I don't fully remember everything. But it appears that whatever version of William this is building a new Westworld, which is interesting. We'll see how that pans out, because I think that might also tie into the new Dolores storyline, which is technically a Christina storyline. I don't think it's technically Dolores, but it might be like an alternate version of Dolores. I was very confused because that was one thing I did remember. I was like, I'm pretty sure Dolores died at the end of season 3, which she did. But like but they got Evan Rachel Wood back as a character named Christina who writes for games, but writes NPC characters. And the one thing I noted was that I think she writes NPCs because she used to be an NPC, right? In Westworld, like she was essentially an NPC, just there to be, as her boss says in this episode, cannon fodder. And she's trying to make these interesting stories for these NPCs because she never really got a truly interesting story. She was always just cannon fodder. So that's the note I made about the connection between this Christina's job and the old Dolores. So then there's the whole thing with the damn guy, where it's like there was all the flies, which has always been a motif in the show, which usually I thought meant like, I can't remember if it meant, because like I think robots were bugged by flies unless they had like evolved, right? Like that was a symbol that this was an evolved host rather than a fully programmed host. So the fact that he was reacting to the flies meant I feel like he was not I don't know. It all confuses me. It's a very confusing show. And I'm not sure if he got robo-swapped or if he was just always a robot and that he was just finally taken over by William, finally commandeered by William or post-William. But anyway, he kills his other company men so that William gets the dam and gets the data facility and gets the data he wants so he can build his new Westworld. I noticed that shoes are like hats because her friend offers her, this is like almost like a moral choice because William as younger Jimmy Simpson wore a hat because he still had ideals. He was still idealistic, still good. But then he got older, got greedy, became the man in black, became the Ed Harris version of himself. And her friend in her apartment is like, what shoes should I wear? And she pulls out the white shoes and the black shoes. Christina picks the white shoes. Just saying. It's a good sign. It's a good sign that Christina's a good person. Just from the history of the show.
There he is.
So I was confused about because it's clear that whatever world they're in isn't the real world, because when she's walking through the streets, we hear these three guys kind of like rush by her and they're like, man, I can't believe you've never been to this place before. There's so much stuff you can do. So I'm like, is this City World? Is this like a new version of Westworld that's like a city? Because, you know, they had like, what, like Japan World? What was, or Samurai World? What was the other world, Carl? I can't remember. They had a few other ones in previous seasons, in like season 2 and season 3. But then I'm starting to think that this might be what's in the data facility, is whatever world Christina's in. Which makes me think, because like the whole thing, because this is what I'm getting from what I got from the recap, is the data is the world beyond, where all the people went at the end of season, all the hosts went at the end of season 2. So I wonder if Dolores sent a copy of herself into the world beyond, or the valley beyond, or something like that. And so that's who Christina is. Because I get the feeling that it's not the real world at all. Because there's like this homeless guy that has like because they keep referencing this tower, and this image keeps showing up of this tower. It's a motif of the episode. And I also noticed that the street lights looked exactly like the tower. So clearly whatever world this is surreal in some way. And most certainly virtual and not actual. But I don't know. The show hurts my brain, but I like that. Wherever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So this show makes my brain stronger. So then there's a guy that so there was a thing with the guy who keeps calling her, keeps stalking her, which parallels with one of the stories she wrote for her NPCs, where a guy stalks a girl, and then the ending is everybody dies. That's how they literally verbalize it. It's like, you remember how it ends? He's like, yeah, everyone dies. And so they kind of parallel that with what's going on in her life, where this guy keeps calling her, keeps hounding her. He finally encounters her, tries to stab her, because he's claiming that she's ruining his life because she's writing him to be a terrible person, basically. He's like, I don't want to do these things. You're making me do these things. But it ends, and he's like, remember how the story ends? Look up. And then she looks up, and he jumps off a building. So I'm like, did she write a different story that was also similar? Because I felt like it was paralleling the stalker story, but in that one everyone dies, but in this one just the stalker dies. So I don't know. It was a little bit confused by that.
Universe Protection Unit.
Maeve. I want to talk about Maeve, because Maeve has long been my favorite character in the show. I feel like she was the first, maybe even, I mean, I like to think that she's like the only robot that truly evolved, but evidence in the past 2 seasons has definitely refuted that. But the first season, I felt very strongly about that, because Dolores' like revolution and everything from the first season, I felt like was really like, as much like her pursuit of freedom was Ford's programming, was what I thought, was that Ford programmed her to try to be free, rather than that actually being her genuine thought, her genuine ideals. Whereas Maeve was programmed to go cause havoc in the real world, but then she stepped off the train because she felt such a strong love for her fake daughter that it was a real daughter to her, and so she made a decision based purely on love and actual like human ideals. So I was like, Maeve, she's the real deal. So I've always loved Maeve, but she is not good at meditation, because apparently when she tries to meditate, it causes a power surge. It sucks all the power out of everything. So she should probably stop trying to do that. But she had a really good line that I liked in this episode, where Aaron Paul's character, I think his name Caleb, he has a family now. He's got a wife and daughter, and so he's like, and so they're kind of endangered by all this, and he's like, you have no idea what it's like to have a loved one in danger. And she replies, hold on, I wrote it down. Oh yeah, I have every idea. And I just really like that thing. It's like, yes, that's the Maeve I know and love, the one that cares so much about her daughter, even though it's not really her daughter. It's just so good. I just love Maeve so much. So apparently all the robots were destroyed, although not all the robots, because William has apparently kept some for himself. Because again, he appears to be building a new Can you get on there, please? No? Westworld. And then obviously Maeve's not destroyed. Apparently, like, all the other ones were destroyed in between Season 3 and Season 4. So that's interesting. But mercs were sent to kill her, which I figured was like government mercs sent to just, continue to wipe out hosts. But then at the end, she chops the guy's head off because she's awesome and badass. And then rips out his skull and plugs into him because apparently he's a robot. And he was sent by William to kill her. So that's interesting. Probably because she poses a threat to what he's trying to do, because she's an actual evolved robot and not a compliant programmed robot. I'll go back. So anyway, that was interesting that the mercs were indeed robots. Curious why he wants her dead exactly, but we'll figure that out. So Christina went on a date that her friend set her up with. And I just want to say, stock market talk is douchey. I hate it. I think the stock market itself is kind of just an evil thing. Like, it was a good idea in theory, but it has been warped into just this really messed up thing that has really kind of, destroyed. I wouldn't say destroyed, but has really messed up the American economy, in my opinion, and the American just kind of structure of everything. It's made America more greedy. Like, the stock market has in itself made America more greedy, and I don't like that. Like, I don't like that companies make decisions based on what their investors want rather than like what's right. It's like they have to do what's wrong in order to please the investors, and I don't like that. Otherwise they get in trouble. It's kind of crazy. I'm gonna go down. Did I want to do this? No, I didn't want to do that. I can't remember if there were two parts to the lower area or not, but there's not. So anyway, I didn't like that guy talking about the stock market. And he was also just douchey in general, because like, he's like, you seem depressed, like, which is a crazy thing to say to someone unless you're, because like, it's one thing to say out of concerns, like, hey, are you okay? Like, you seem like you might be a little down or something. But no, he's like kind of judgy, kind of judging her for being depressed. And then he kept saying that they've got tabs for that, which I'm assuming is some sort of drug, some sort of like maybe antidepressant, like Xanax or something, but it's called Tab. I don't know. Maybe I'm supposed to remember tabs from season 3, but I don't. Oops, messed that up. Yeah, but it's like he should, like, instead of like trying to like fix her with drugs, he should have been like, understand. Well, again, here's the saving grace, is that he's not real, right? And not even in the sense that he's a TV character, but in the sense that within the TV show, I'm pretty sure he's a virtual person, maybe even sent by somebody to control her, right? Like, he might not actually be just like a regular douche. He might just be a plant. Just without roots. What the heck did I write here? Oh, right. I wrote, is she Wanda? Because the plot seems very reminiscent. Christina's plot seems very reminiscent of WandaVision. Especially with the guy complaining, like, you made me do this, like, you're controlling me. Like, is she, like, actually in control of, like, the denizens of this city? You know, kind of WandaVision style, where, oops, it's whatever she wants it to be rather than whatever the people want it to be. I don't know, but that was my question: is she Wanda? But I had bad handwriting, so for a second I was, this was yesterday. It's been almost 24 hours. So it's been over 24 hours. That's plenty of time to forget a thing. Handwriting is so bad. I was reading it as, is she Warda? I was like, what's a Warda? What did I mean by that? But nope, it's Wanda. Alright, what else did I write down for Westworld? Oh yeah, in the end, she was like writing a news story. She's pitching a news story. She's talking about her own life, is what I wrote down, because she's like, I want the story to have a happy ending, but she's talking about herself. She wants a happy ending for her life, but something tells me that ain't happening. Dolores. Or, excuse me, Christina. But it is interesting, it's not quite Westworld-esque, because like in Westworld, like the day would repeat, right? Although, well, I guess it wasn't every day, right? Because stories had to be concurrent over a few days, right? For the players, or for the people, the customers. So I don't know. But she still had the cut from the attack the next day, even though she was waking up in very much the same way, which was reminiscent of those early episodes of season 1, repeating the same days over and over again. She woke up in very much the exact same way that she did the first time, which I guess a commentary on the routineness of life and getting stuck in a cycle. But she did still have a cut, so it clearly didn't reset. And then, the shocker of them all, Marsden's back. James Marsden, who I think, I'm trying to remember, I think he was in season 2. I think he died in season 2. I'm pretty sure he definitely wasn't in season 3 at all. So I think he's back from a season-long absence. So, all in all, I don't know if other people, like, I haven't really looked into whether or not other people enjoyed this episode, but people didn't like last season. I liked last season. I like this episode. It makes me think. I think it's compelling. I think it's interesting. I like it. Westworld's good. That's my say on the matter. That no one cares about. So I think, unlike last time, I'm not going to keep playing after I'm done talking about stuff, because I am done talking about stuff. I do want to just do like one last thing, just to cap it all off. And that's make this stupid jump that I'm apparently very bad at. Can I get up there? Oh, I wonder if I'm too high, because I keep hitting my head on the... Yep, that was it. Alright, I just want to see what's up here. Oh, is it a boss? Let me just do the boss. I'll do the boss. Oh, never mind. Boss isn't up there. I just want to get one more token. One more Pizza Planet token, then I'm done. Man, dude, it is a sweat lodge in my apartment right now. My goodness. It was like 93 degrees out earlier. Let's see, it's not that hot not that hot right now.
I'm Buzz Lightyear, Space Ranger, Universe Protection Unit.
Outside it is 75, which is not bad. Although it is 9:30 at night, so for 9:30, 75 is pretty hot. Although apparently it's going to cool down over the next few days. Tomorrow's high is 70, but the high today was 94, which is not usual for Washington. At least it wasn't as bad as last year, where it got to like 108. I got no air conditioning in my apartment. It sucks. But anyway, let me turn my fan on just real quick. I don't want to leave it on because it'll cause noise, but I just want to see what it says the temperature is. 94 degrees inside my room right now. That's insane. What am I supposed to be doing? Because I took that zip line over here. Am I supposed to be dropping down? Because that's where I just was. Let's see what's down here.
I'm Buzz Lightyear, Space Ranger, Universe
Man,
Protection Unit.
I'm like legit lost. I don't know where I'm supposed to be going. Alright, can you die before I... Oh gosh, don't kill me. Wow. I got lucky. I don't remember where I'm supposed to be going. I got to the top and then there was like nothing there. Is there stuff at the bottom that I'm forgetting about? I just want to get one more token before I quit. Oh, okay. Yep, I'm seeing it now. Is that hurtful? No. Good. Alright, this I believe is a race. So let me just do this. I think they put them like on the water slicks, right? Yeah, so that's where the difficulty comes in. Okay, there's one. Are they in other rooms? Yes. I was not anticipating that. Okay, the nice thing is, I'm gonna just rewind. Get that one come back. Instead of wasting my time. Oh, there's one up top, I think. If I remember right, there's at least one on the conveyor belt. Yeah. And then probably one in this other room over here. But then I also have to get back. And this time I gotta remember to save, because last time I did not remember to save, and I had to play all the way back up to the point that I played last time. So I'm going to remember to save this time. And then I'm going to get a drink, because I'm very thirsty, because again, it is 94 degrees inside my room right now. Because it is too well insulated. I keep my window closed during the day, because I don't want people to hear me outside. And so it just traps all that heat inside, and it's very hot, and I don't like it. But, I'm going to use the PlayStation's emulation save instead of the regular save. And I want to thank you all for watching, and I will see you on the...